calling her Mr. Elizabeth be enough to make you happy? I don't even know where to begin explaining just how messed up that is, he said, and left the room. I kept the name Mr. Elizabeth anyway, because she was a tomboy, and it turned out she actually really liked the name. I considered telling my dad the good news, but wisely figured he'd only hate me more. Instead of doing typical boy things, I was creative as a kid. And of course, my dad considered any type of creativity a girly quality. For example, he hated that I liked to draw. It's not like I drew unicorns and flowers with smiley faces and rainbows all day, but that I didn't at least draw realistic pictures of gun battles and spaceships bothered him. Instead, I preferred to draw nature scenes featuring really realistic cats, because I'd always wanted one. And I guess he considered a cat similar enough to a unicorn, and this made him feel positively icky. But did that make me any less of a man than all the other boys in my grade? I didn't think so. Okay, so maybe I like to weave friendship bracelets in my spare time, which I'd learned how to make at summer camp. That my dad forced me to attend in the first place. And I admit, I played with Polly Pocket dolls, which are intended for girls, at least according to the packaging. Personally, I felt they were for anyone with a wonderful imagination. But again, this had more to do with my surroundings than me as a person. I played with Polly Pockets because my parents didn't buy me action figures. They were paranoid that my infant sister would try to eat them. And so I had to make do with the Benson twins' toy collection next door. If my dad caught me playing with the dolls, I'd immediately switch from trying out different outfits on them for a tea party, and instead pretend that they were having a battle royale to the death. After he'd leave the room, I'd quietly apologize to the dolls and make sure they were okay. "Sorry, ladies," I'd whisper. "Now, who wants ice cream?" My mom would always try to make me feel better whenever she witnessed my dad being appalled at my playing with dolls and stuff. And she'd always say the same thing. "Your father always wanted a boy." I knew what she meant. What she was trying to do was remind me that my dad, despite the way he grimaced all the time around me, really did always want a son, and that I should feel welcome around him, which of course had the opposite effect. I mean, when a parent feels compelled to tell their child that their father really did want to have him, you know that's not a good sign. Mom was probably the worst consoler in the history of mankind. She tried way too hard to make me feel better by saying things like that, which would always end up making me feel 10 times worse. Like, after I struggled with my first ever swimming lesson, swallowing a mouthful of chlorine as the instructor had us hold the side of the pool and practice holding our breath underwater. Mom patted me on the head on the ride home and said, "Not everyone was meant to swim." Up to that moment, I'd been planning on sticking it out for at least a second day, but immediately decided I wasn't ever going to be able to do it. Or there was that time we spent a week at a beach house on the Cape, and one rainy afternoon I lost to her in a game of concentration, and she said, "Don't feel bad. We did drop you on your head once when you were really little." And now she was telling me that Dad had always wanted a boy, thinking I felt unloved, which I did. I was failing in my dad's eyes, yet again, and she was wrong for that matter. My dad didn't want just any old boy. Specifically, he wanted a boy that was just like he was when he grew up, which I clearly wasn't. Hence the problem. And so that's why that night at dinner my dad said he was going to make a man out of me. It was a vague statement, but somehow I knew to fear it. "Thanksgiving's coming," he said, changing the subject, clicking his teeth as he pretended to hold up a drumstick. I played with the oversteamed, mushy carrots on my plate. "Gross," I muttered.